This is gonna save you from all that water running down your arms or like getting all over you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host, Shannon. Today we have another really exciting episode for you guys. We're gonna actually be mixing and matching quite a few products today. So I'm gonna show you some things that are makeup related and some things that are skincare related. And I actually have a tub with me today, so let's just open it up. So we have a very typical compact or a cushion. This is very common in Korea. This is kind of the standard or go-to when it comes to Korean foundation. I'm actually wearing a compact right now. Actually, it's not this particular one, but they are very common. Let me just open this up. Okay, so there's always a safety seal on the actual product. This actually prevents you from getting, oh, what is this? I've never seen this before. Look at this. That is so cool. I like that. Okay, super cool. So not exactly what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting like when you open it up and there's like a little cushion. This one actually looks like it's a twisting motion and then it kind of deposits the product like this. That's probably a lot of products, but let's just give it a go. I immediately like this concept because I feel like it's a little bit more hygienic. It's a little bit more, oh, it's like mousse. I don't know if you guys can see that texture there. So it's a little bit more clean. That way you don't sort of put a dirty pad back into the actual product. We're just gonna go ahead and tap that on and see kind of what that finish looks like. Okay, so right away, just texture-wise, it does feel a little bit more moussey, a little bit more glossy, but the coverage is fantastic. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It doesn't feel stodgy or cakey. So for my girlies out there that like a full coverage foundation, this might be a better option for you. So I don't know if you guys can see that finish. This is actually a makeup product that has sunscreen in it, and this is very common. This particular one is SPF 50 and it's PA+ 4. Up next, we have these. These are super funky looking. So this is something that you actually might recognize. So let me just do a comparison here. So this is the standard. This is a little compact that typically comes with the makeup products. And this is the one that we have today. So as you guys can see, this is a reusable one or kind of a disposable one. These actually come in different shapes and sizes, and that's not just because it's cute, it's actually for a purpose. These bigger, rounder ones are typically gonna be closer to your foundation type of cushion, and then these are typically for like under eye concealer or blush. These are where you're getting into like the little corners, so especially around the nose, the mouth, and then the under eyes as well. So I like this, it gives you a lot of variety. Texture-wise, this is gonna be really hard for me to show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see the texture on this one. It is soft, it actually seems like very microfiber base, it is quite nice. The density as well is a little bit thicker, which is fine. This is supposed to last you a little bit longer. These are a lot softer. Let me just break one out so you guys can see. There we go. So right away, that is like a baby's butt. That is super, super soft and like silky. Its microfibers are even more closely knit, which is so nice because typically when you're going for a cushion type, think about it like a kitchen sponge versus something microfiber. If a kitchen sponge has really large holes, typically the makeup is gonna kind of absorb into the sponge more than deposit on your face. With something like this, where it's a little bit more slick on the top, it's actually not going to absorb the product as much. All right, now I have 2 hands full of foundation, so we need a way to get it off. So I'm gonna move these guys to the side, and before we get started, I'm gonna be showing you guys probably one of the cutest products, and I actually have a headband version of this, but we're gonna be using these little wristbands today. So one thing that I think a lot of us, especially my girlies who do their skincare like over the sink and not in the shower, this is gonna save you from all that water running down your arms or like getting all over you. So when you splash your face, it actually doesn't run. I actually do have a bucket of water here, so we are gonna be demonstrating that. And to save my shirt, we're gonna be using our little cuffs. So you guys can definitely check these out. I see these a lot in Olive Young as like a package deal. So it's usually like a headband and 2 of these. So yeah, super soft, very cute. I like it, easy to put on. So enough said there. Now we're gonna be using something to remove makeup. This is a very sort of synonymous product with our surprise cushion foundation here, which is a grinding serum cover fit. This is a grinding cleansing balm. So this one as well is gonna actually have that sort of grinding element. You guys can see it right there. So let's check it out. Let's see how it works. Is that slow enough to be satisfying? There you go. So you guys can see the product. Like I said, I think the biggest advantage with these sort of grinding products is that they're actually very clean. Because now I'm not dipping my dirty hands into any sort of product and contaminating everything inside. This sort of keeps everything nice and clean. This particular one is a Pore Refresh Cleansing Balm. So even though we're going to be doing it on my hand, I will be trying to describe as best as I can the sort of texture, how it's feeling. And for those of you guys that don't know, cleansing balm is actually a gentler way to sort of do a oil cleanse. Specifically for breaking down sunscreen or makeup, this is something that you definitely want to add to your routine. The oil particles are essentially going to help to liquefy or emulsify some of the makeup products that are typically oil-based as well. And this attaches to the sebum in your pores to help move everything out. So this is another way to get that super deep cleanse. So without further ado, let's just go ahead. I'm just going to swipe a little bit. Okay, I have like a nice little bud of the oil. So it's kind of like a coconut oil situation. It's solid, but the second it starts to come in contact with the heat from your hands or from your face, it's gonna start to melt. So right away, you guys can see that it's starting to turn beige, which is the same color as the foundation. So it's really, really quickly breaking all of that down. I'm just gonna rinse it off and let's just see what happens. So just so you guys know, when it comes to oil cleansing or even for an oil balm, a phenomenon that you might notice is actually that it turns white. So I don't know if you guys can see, the drops of the water are actually turning white. This is a good thing. This is called emulsification. This is how you actually extract the oil from the skin. So I'm just gonna keep rinsing and see if the rest of that comes off. Okay, I still got a little bit of makeup kind of around my knuckles, but I think we've pretty much done the job. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm gonna do some ASMR as requested, so let's just see how this goes. Did it work? I have no idea if that worked or not. But now we have a copious amount of foaming toner. It's very cute. Okay, this is way too much. Okay, hold on. Okay, so noted, you don't need a lot of this. I think just a little bit is fine. But it's a toner, I would say. It feels very thin and very lightweight. When it comes to toners, you want it to absorb really, really quickly. You don't want this to be something that kind of sits for a long time. The point of toner is to actually hydrate kind of in the first steps of skincare, and I'm gonna give this a minute to absorb, but it should look very glossy right away. Okay, I put way too much. Just for reference, this should not be this wet, but I did put way too much. But anyway, it's very cooling and soothing, lightweight. Ooh, I was gonna say it doesn't have a fragrance, but it kind of does. It smells like clean. I don't know how to explain it. It just smells very clean and aqua-y. So last product, this is the double pad, calming double pad right here. So the double pad, in my favorite Korean fashion, comes with a nice little grabber here. So you guys can make sure that it's clean as well. I gotta say, I kind of like the fact that there's an emphasis on how to keep everything hygienic and how to keep everything really clean. These I think for cooling and calming as well. I don't know how well you guys can see that. If you guys can, try to zoom. There's a large one right here on the right side, and then these two right here are a little bit smaller and thinner. So one thing I personally have had a problem with when it comes to toner pads is that they're round and they only fit like on the cheeks unless you cut them. I think this is the purpose of solving that particular problem, and I'll show you why. When you're using the rounder toner pads, you can use them other areas, but it's not easy. It takes a little bit more work. So if we pull the whole thing out here, can you see those little partitions? There's actually 3 pads and 1 here. So these thinner ones is actually what I would use kind of around the nose area, to kind of sink into the pores a little bit better. So I really like this one. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, if we're gonna use it in a place that has a lot of creases, for example, these thinner ones are actually gonna sit a little bit better. If I try to use a really thick product, it's kind of just gonna lay there, right? Which is fine. This covers a large surface area. I actually like that it's square. Right away, this kind of like adheres to the skin really nicely, which is super cool. Like you can see, like it's not even, whoa, okay, hold on. It's not really going anywhere. This one is really nice because it's actually quite spongy. So overall for today's, I've actually liked every single product that we've used so far. I think my favorite, I gotta go with the cleansing balm on this one because I know personally that these are amazing. These really break down makeup really well. They're also really hydrating. This particular one I think was viral on TikTok not too long ago. But yes, really, really great product. This is a new take on a product that I already love. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or if there's anything you'd like to see on the program, make sure to drop it in the link down below and I will do my best to read everything. Before you guys go, make sure you hit like, comment again if you haven't already, and then subscribe as well to the channel. And we will see you guys next week at 6 p.m. Mwah. Bye.